I haven't had a drink in about 6 years. That's almost 2,200 days. And I don't mean I've cut down or drink occasionally. Zero, nothing. I mean, I used to be a full-blown alcoholic, waking up with hangovers that felt like my skull was cracking, counting down the minutes till Bargain Booze opened at 10 a.m. if I didn't have any cans left from the night before, which was rare. I'd be stood outside there waiting, cashier looking at me worried, drink till I slept, wake up, repeat. That was the loop, but that's not where it started. Like most of these things, it started harmless. A few pints with the lads after work at the weekend, but you know how it goes. 1 turns into 2, 3 turns into 4. Then one day you realize it's not just the weekend anymore, it's any excuse at all, and that's how it creeps in quietly. So, what actually made me stop? How would you even figure out who you are without it? And what really changes when you quit? That's what we're going to talk about in this video, properly. No preaching, not the shiny, how I turned my life around, everything's perfect version that you'll see on Instagram. Just the truth. So what actually made me stop? Well, it wasn't just some rock bottom moment. It was death by 1,001 more drinks, death by 1,000 cuts. From about 15 to 29, alcohol was part of almost every good memory I had, and almost every bad one as well. House parties, cheap lager, bad music. Not always, we had some good tunes on sometimes. Singing Wonderwall at 1 a.m, which is a banger. And at the time, you think it's freedom, and you think it's fun. And it is for a while, until it quietly becomes the opposite. When I was about 23, my mum and a partner bought a pub. Put a young budding alcoholic into a pub. What do you think is going to happen? I lived in the upstairs bit where we had a function room that was empty most of the time, so there was literally a bar 10 steps away from my bed. I'd obviously bring all my mates up, drink for free, and make stupid decisions I'd regret the next morning. I remember one night after a party, I literally just asked this girl to be my girlfriend after 15 pints, and she said yeah. I woke up in the morning just like, what have I done? And 3 awkward weeks later, that was sorted. Just one of the 1,000 terrible decisions I've made on alcohol. And every day coming back from work, I'd walk through the bar past these 5 blokes sat in the corner, the regulars. Same seats, same silence, same pints. But they weren't there for cheap beer. You can get cheap beer down the shop. They were there because they had nowhere else to be. And I'd see that every day, and one day I just thought, that's going to be me in 30, 40 years. And that terrified me. Yet I continued to ignore it for another 5 years. But by 29, everything had caught up. I was broke, heartbroken, literally lost one of my best mates to alcohol. And I saw this photo of myself, and I looked pale, dead-eyed, like I was 70 or something. I'll put it up on the screen now. And I just thought, is this how I'm starting my 30s? That was it. No big crash, no ambulance, no rehab. Just me finally admitting that alcohol wasn't my best mate anymore, and I had to deal with it. It was silently killing me. So after months sat in my room withdrawing, I stopped. I quit. Thank God. So who am I without alcohol? Who do you become when you quit? Because you see, that's actually the hardest part. Because when you stop drinking, you don't just lose the drink. You lose the person you were when you drunk. And I was the funny drunk guy, the chaotic mate, the go on then, one more type guy. And when that disappears, you're left wondering who you actually are. I didn't have a clue. Now, back when I was drinking, we used to go to these illegal raves run by this group called Gash Collective. It's highly unlikely any of you will have heard of them, but let me know if you have. And you'd ring this specific number and you'd get a voicemail with the location of the rave. It'd be like behind the trees in the quarry or abandoned warehouse, crouch underneath the shutter. And I actually went to that last one. Hundreds, maybe even thousands of people inside. It's like classic what you see on documentaries, UK rave scene. Sweat, jungle music, chaos. It actually looked unreal. It was impressive. But even in the middle of it, I remember thinking, why do I still feel so empty? When I finally quit, that's what hit the hardest, the silence. No more raves, no more house parties, no more pubs, none of it. You literally lose your social life overnight. Confidence takes a hit, you go to routine, and you start asking yourself things like, what do I do at Christmas? What do I even say to people at a party? Then one night, my mate, Wasim, who never drank for obvious reasons, came out with us. Still had a laugh, still talked to everyone, didn't care what anyone thought of him, and then just went home after a good night. And I remember thinking, maybe it's not the alcohol that makes the night good. Maybe it's just you, in the case me, actually being there as it had been with Wasim. And that stuck with me. And then, yeah, over time, friends changed. Some people grew out of it, some people didn't. And when you take alcohol out of a friendship built around it, a lot of what made you close just falls away. But that's okay, because it makes space for new people and a new version of you to show up for them. So what really changes when you quit? After you get through the horrible terror of actually quitting it, the first changes aren't even big. It's just quiet. And at first, that quiet feels wrong. It messes with your head, like something's missing, because it literally is in a way. But that silence, that's also where everything good starts to happen. You see, you lose your best mate and your identity at the same time, so you've got to build a new one from scratch. And at first, I went a little bit too far the other way, in my opinion. Bed by dead on 9, cold showers, total control. I was trying to make up for lost time, and people said I was boring, but those people were still out till 3 a.m. telling the same stories they've been telling for 20 years. So I'll take boring. Then things start to change fast. Your anxiety drops through the floor. You stop waking up panicking like, oh shit, what did I do last night? Who did I say what to? You lose weight without even trying. And a lot of people, myself included, get into fitness because you've got all this time and energy. And suddenly all that stuff that you used to find boring starts feeling really good. You actually start doing the things you've been talking about drunk for years because you're sober enough and bored enough to actually do them. Your mind sharpens up, you can focus again, you stop feeling like death every morning, your sleep, your mood, your energy, everything starts balancing out. You save mountains of money, you stop killing yourself slowly, and the best part, no hangovers. Ever. It's a keystone habit. When you remove alcohol, everything else starts falling into place. For me, I stopped smoking. I stopped smashing takeaways every night. You stop doing all the other dumb shit that comes with drinking. But it doesn't fix everything. You still have bad days. You'll still massively overthink things. It doesn't just cure anxiety, but life is just clearer. That reminds me of the Back to the Future movie. I'm going to put a clip in right now. Go.
Everything becomes clear.
Thank you, Doc Brown, for that little bit of entertainment. Now, there are a few negatives, just like with anything, but that's for another video. All I can say is life is better without it, at least for me. I remember near when I started quitting, waking up in the morning, making breakfast, and going for a run and seeing the sunrise. And I realised that's the first time in like a decade that I'd had a morning where I wasn't hungover. And I was like, that is what life is meant to be like. And now, you could put a pint in front of me and I wouldn't feel anything. I don't even notice they're even there. Happens all the time. I still go and see some of the old crew. Liver's clean, mind's sharper. I'm still obsessive. I'm still quite intense sometimes. Still got a few hangover addictions from the drinking days that I'll talk about in the future when I've dealt with them. I'm obviously not some perfect saint, but on the whole, I point at things that build me, not break me, and then I go full steam ahead into them. Next step on the agenda is actually trying to get into med school to become a doctor, which is going to be incredibly hard, and I could fail at. See, addiction doesn't vanish. You just point it somewhere else, and if you point it somewhere good, you win. Watch this video next, as YouTube thinks you'll love it. Mwah. Peace.